What if I told you that retiring in your 30s or 40s has nothing to do with luck, nothing to do with inheritance, and everything to do with a real estate strategy that most people walk right past every single day without ever noticing it? And the best part is, the math is not complicated. Once you see how the numbers actually work, you are going to wonder why nobody ever showed you this before. So stay with me because we are going to go deep into the actual numbers today, including what a fully paid off home is genuinely worth to you when you stop working early. This is the stuff that changes how you think about money forever. Let me start with the question. How much do you think you need to retire early? Most people throw out a number like $2 million or $3 million, and they spend their entire career chasing that number inside a 401k, hoping the market cooperates, hoping their employer keeps matching, hoping nothing goes wrong along the way. But here is what those same people almost never consider. Real estate, specifically a small portfolio of fully paid off homes, can generate enough monthly income to replace a salary without needing millions sitting in a brokerage account. Let me show you exactly how that works. Picture someone who is 32 years old. They buy their first rental property for around $350,000. They put 20% down, so roughly $70,000 out of pocket. Their mortgage on the remaining $280,000 comes out to approximately $1,600 a month on a 30-year loan. Now, they rent that home out for $2,200 a month. After the mortgage, property taxes, insurance, and setting aside a small reserve for maintenance, they are clearing somewhere around $200 to $300 a month in actual cash flow. Not life-changing money on its own, but here is where people completely misread the strategy. The monthly cash flow is only one of four things quietly happening at the same time. While that $200 a month is coming in, the tenant is also paying down the mortgage every single month. After 5 years, the loan balance has dropped by roughly $18,000 just through normal amortization. At the same time, if the home appreciates at a conservative 4% annually, that $350,000 property is worth close to $426,000 after just 5 years. So the equity position has grown by well over $100,000 through a combination of appreciation and loan paydown, and the investor only put $70,000 in at the start. That is the leverage story nobody tells you about. Now here is where the early retirement math starts getting really interesting. Let us say that same person buys a second property at age 35. Similar numbers. They now have 2 properties with tenants, covering the mortgages, while appreciation and equity build in the background. By the time they reach 45, 10 to 13 years down the road, both properties have been appreciating steadily, the loan balances have dropped significantly, and they have a critical decision in front of them that will determine whether they retire at 45 or keep working until 65. That decision is what to do with the equity. Here is path 1, the slow traditional approach. You just keep collecting modest cash flow, let the mortgages slowly pay themselves off over the full 30 years, and maybe retire in your late 50s with 2 paid off homes. Not bad. But there is a faster path that almost nobody takes advantage of in their 30s and 40s. By the time you're in your mid-40s, with 2 properties that have each appreciated significantly, you could have combined equity of $400,000 or more depending on your market. Some investors take a portion of that equity through a cash-out refinance and put it into a third income-producing property. Others use it to accelerate the payoff of the existing mortgages. The choice depends entirely on your goals, your timeline, and your risk tolerance. Both paths work, but let me show you what a fully paid-off home actually does to your retirement math, because this is where most people have no idea what they are sitting on. Imagine you have 2 fully paid-off homes worth $500,000 each in today's market. Combined value of $1 million in real estate with 0 debt attached. Now, the average rent on a $500,000 home in a decent market in 2026 is somewhere in the range of $2,400 to $3,000 per month. Let us use a conservative $2,500 per home. That is $5,000 per month coming in across both properties. After property taxes, insurance, and maintenance reserves, you are realistically keeping around $3,800 to $4,200 per month in net income. That is $45,000 to $50,000 per year in completely passive income with no mortgage payment eating into it, no bank requiring anything from you, and no boss required. For a couple living a modest but comfortable lifestyle, That number alone covers the basics. Add in any other savings, a small side income, or even part-time work you actually enjoy, and you have a genuine early retirement. The key difference between this and a traditional stock portfolio retirement is the stability of that income. Rents do not drop to zero because the market had a bad quarter. Your tenants still pay rent, whether the S&P 500 is up or down 30%. That predictability is enormously valuable when you stop working in your 40s and you have potentially 40 or 50 years of retirement ahead of you. Now let us talk about the psychological and financial value of owning those homes outright, because this part rarely gets discussed seriously. When you carry a mortgage into retirement or early retirement, you have what financial planners call a fixed obligation. Whether the market is great or terrible, whether your tenant pays late or leaves early, that mortgage payment is due every single month. That rigidity creates stress. It forces decisions under pressure. It makes people delay retirement even when the math technically says they can go. But a paid-off home eliminates that fixed obligation entirely. When a rough patch hits, and it will hit at some point, you can cut discretionary spending, skip the vacation, or reduce your lifestyle temporarily without the fear of defaulting on a loan. That flexibility is worth more than most people realize when they are doing the math on paper. The numbers might look slightly worse for the paid-off scenario on a spreadsheet, but real life is not lived on a spreadsheet. Real life is lived through unpredictable years, bad markets, unexpected expenses, and moments where the last thing you want is a mandatory payment hanging over your head. There is also a tax dimension worth mentioning. When you own rental properties, free and clear, your net income goes up significantly, but so does your flexibility around how you structure your finances. You can accelerate or slow down your rental income depending on your needs in any given year. You can use depreciation deductions to offset rental income on your taxes, which is one of the genuinely powerful advantages of real estate that stock investors simply do not have access to. Now let me give you a realistic roadmap for how someone in their early 30s could actually execute this. Year 1 through 3. Buy your first property with 20% down, ideally in a solid middle-tier market with strong rental demand. Do not chase the hottest zip code in the country. Chase stability, consistent tenant demand, and manageable entry price. Year 4 through 8. Manage that property intentionally. Adjust rents annually with the market. Make smart improvements that increase value without destroying your time. Let equity build. By year 7 or 8, you should have meaningful equity and a clearer picture of your financial position. Year 8 through 12. If your equity and income support it, acquire a second property using a combination of savings and refinanced equity from the first. Now you have two engines running simultaneously. Year 12 through 18, with 2 properties appreciating, 2 loan balances dropping, and rental income growing, you are building serious momentum. Make a deliberate push to retire the mortgage on your first property, either through aggressive paydown or by redirecting cash flow. The moment that first mortgage disappears, your monthly net income jumps dramatically. Year 18 through 22. You are in your early to mid-50s. Your second property is approaching payoff. Your first is already generating clean, debt-free income. The finish line is in clear sight. For someone who starts at 30 and executes this with discipline, retiring fully in their late 40s or very early 50s with 2 paid-off homes, generating combined net income of $45,000 to $55,000 annually is a realistic and achievable outcome. Not a fantasy, not a get-rich-quick scheme. A steady, deliberate plan built on math that actually works. Here's the thing I want you to take away from everything we just covered. Early retirement through real estate is not about having 20 properties or becoming a full-time landlord. It is about owning a small number of the right properties in the right locations, letting time and consistent management do the heavy lifting, and ultimately arriving at a place where a handful of debt-free homes generate enough monthly income that working becomes a choice rather than a requirement. 2 paid-off homes worth $500,000 each. Clean rental income every month with no mortgage attached. That is not a complicated plan. It is just one that requires starting early, staying patient, and understanding that the real value of this strategy reveals itself not in year 1 or year 2, but in year 15 and beyond. So let me ask you this. If you could retire 20 years earlier than the traditional path by owning 2 or 3 fully paid off properties, would you do it? Drop your answer in the comments below. I would genuinely love to know where you are in your real estate journey right now. And if this video helped you think about early retirement differently, make sure you like it and subscribe so you never miss a future breakdown like this one. We go deep on real wealth building strategies here, the kind that actually work in the real world. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.